by the word victory. You should want it at all costs.
Jesus Christ is the King of everything in this world.
They have been justifying in the name of Jesus what Jesus explicitly rejects in the gospel: violence and enmity.
So a lot of folk who've lost faith in God, it's a very healthy thing, because the God that they've lost faith in was probably an idol anyway.
Hello, this is The Critical Christian. Today is November 14th, 2024. Last week was the election, and we learned that Trump was going to be the president. A lot of people are feeling different things about it. Hopeful, some are feeling hopeful, some are feeling bummed out and like it's the end of the world. For me, I didn't vote for either one of them. Whether it was Trump or whether it was Harris, I didn't really feel like there was that much of a difference between the two of them. But it made me think about there's this verse in the book of Mark when someone asks him about whether or not they should pay taxes to Rome. Jesus says, "Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's." And so I feel like that. I feel like when I think about the state and like my own life as a person who lives, under a government, I think the things that are mine are my heart and my soul, the way that I treat people, the way that I treat my family, and the things that are Caesar's, money. All the money, the whole idea of money is just a created thing that people made up so that you could store wealth. And I think that belongs to Caesar. Money does. And anyway, I was thinking about how a lot of Christians are some of the more conservative Christians are relieved and happy about Trump's win. And they feel like, now that Trump is the president, babies are safe, basically. He's not going to, make Roe versus Wade the law of the land. It's not going to be a federal law for abortions to be legal, all the time, everywhere in America. On the other side of the coin, a lot of people who are bummed out about the election, they feel like Trump is going to change abortion laws so that you can't get an abortion. And I just don't know that that's true. I don't think that that's true. I think if anything, they'll sort of leave it up to the states to decide. I think a lot of people who were voting for Harris, they felt like she was going to legalize abortion and make it a federal, right to have an abortion for any reason at whatever stage of the pregnancy. But I don't think the Democrats really were going to make abortion a federal right. It's sort of used as a scare tactic for Democrats to say vote for us, or so. And if they were gonna do it, if they were gonna to make Roe versus Wade the law of the land and make abortion legal across the board, they would have done it when Obama was in office and they had the House and the Senate. But they didn't. And they didn't because what else are they going to run on against Republicans? And Republicans are fine about it too. I don't think Republicans in general, Republicans are fine to let the states work it out. They're fine to and I honestly think that they're fine with abortion too. If you think about the elites of the country, the people who are really running the government, they want abortion. They have no problem with abortion. They prefer it, actually. Think about, do they want millions of single mothers in the society? Like, do they want like a bunch of babies who basically need to be on food stamps and they need Medicare? Their mothers can't work because they have to care for the children. Do they have the resources to provide childcare for all these people? No, they do not. And they don't want to pay for it. And they call it like women's rights, or you can call it, control of my own body. Women should have control of their own bodies. Like those are great statements. And that's true, right? Who can argue with, women's rights, or who can argue with having control of your own body? Instead of calling what the issue really is, they sort of call it, just shift this moral burden of ending a life. They shift it onto an economically insecure woman, and she has to weigh, whether or not she's, has the money to pay for a baby, or whether she's prepared to end her career and take care of a child for the rest of her life. So I think that there's just a lot of other things going on other than like women having control of their own bodies. I think that the elite prefer women to shoulder the burden of ending the life of a fetus, of a baby. So I think the abortion is going nowhere. The elites do not want the end of abortion. Period. So I don't think there's any reason for Christians to be happy, for Christians who are pro-life to be happy about it, to be happy about a Trump presidency, because women will continue to bear the moral burden of ending their pregnancies. So I don't blame women. I blame the culture that we're in. It's a sick system that sort of promotes promiscuity, drinking, and when people end up pregnant, it promotes them ending the life of that baby that's inside of them. So I don't really see anything changing with that. But I will say this, while those who are, happy about a Trump presidency, while they're celebrating the win and they're breathing a sigh of relief, that the Democrats' unhinged, warmongering, liberal, corrupt regime is over, what's happening is that Trump is staffing his cabinet. Like, even though, it's not Mike Pompeo anymore, but it's probably going to be Marco Rubio. And Marco Rubio is not a peace-loving, anti-war nominee. Like, his attitude towards Latin America, his attitude towards China is one of dominance, of control, not of partnership, but of antagonism, to seeing China as an antagonistic force. And they don't speak in that way towards us. They don't act, historically, they have not been that way towards us. If anybody has been aggressive towards China historically, it's been the West, where basically the Western people, it's not America, but the UK, we wanted to sell opium in China. And they said, nope, you can't. And we said, yeah, we would prefer to, and so we're going to go to war with you because of it. That's antagonistic. Can you imagine if China went to war with the United States so that they could sell fentanyl? I mean, he sees China as a rival and as a threat to us. And if anything, we are a threat to them.
The Chinese Communist Party is a challenge to the United States, unlike greater even than what the Soviet Union was, because they are a commercial rival, a technological rival, a geopolitical rival, a diplomatic rival, and a commercial one. And in addition to all of that, they are also a military threat to the country as they continue to develop.
The United States has 800 military bases around the world. 800. Guess how many China has? China has 1 military base that's like outside of their, an overseas military base. They are strengthening for sure. But as a Christian, I'm not like dedicated necessarily to the success of one country or the other. I'm dedicated to loving my neighbor, being a blessing to all nations. We do not have to be antagonistic. As Christians, we are called to love our neighbor as ourselves. So, Trump was not the anti-war candidate. He wasn't even the pro-life candidate. He was just a different mascot. So, my point is that it doesn't matter who you voted for. It doesn't matter if you voted for Harris or if you voted for Trump. The table was set for us. It's the option that's presented on election day is you have a coin. You flip a coin. You want heads or tails, Democrat or Republican. Here's your choice. Here's your democracy. Heads, I win. Tails, you lose. So what I want to say is whether you're feeling bummed out that Trump won or if you're feeling hopeful that Trump won, I just want to encourage you to think about the government and the state as Caesar. That you think about it in the context of the New Testament and Jesus on earth and how he spoke about the government and how he thought about the government and how he encouraged us to think about the government. And that's what I think about when I think of this passage. It's about taxes and paying taxes, but I think it makes sense to sort of apply it to our thinking of like how we vote. This is Mark 12:13. They sent some Pharisees and followers of Herod to bait him, hoping to catch him saying something incriminating. They came up and said, "Teacher, we know you have integrity, that you are indifferent to public opinion. Don't pander to your students and teach the way of God accurately. Tell us, is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not?" He knew it was a trick question and said, "Why are you playing games with me? Bring me a coin and let me look at it." They handed him one. "This engraving, who does it look like? And whose name is on it?" "Caesar," they said. Jesus said, "Give Caesar what is his, and give God what is his." Their mouths hung open, speechless. So I guess I feel that way about our votes and which candidate we support. It didn't matter, and it doesn't matter for our life. And I think what we can think about is in our own life, like what is a Christian to do? And I think what a Christian is to do is to, love their neighbor as their self, love God, raise your kids with love under, in a marriage of respect and sacrifice. And I think that's a start. And that's all I got to say for now. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.